Guys, this is Sarah, and today I have an amazing guest to share with you. His name is Alex Albarran, and Alex comes from the business world, and he's got a lot of information that he shared with me, and I'm learning a lot from him. So I just wanted to be able to share him with the rest of my audience as well, not hog Alex all to myself, even though I would love to. So Alex, thank you so much for coming on my channel today. And I was hoping that maybe you could just introduce yourself. I know that you're super successful, but where did you come from? Where did you start out? What
Mm,
kind of family were you raised in? And, how did that lead up to making you who you are today?
mm. Well, thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having me. You mentioned amazing, super successful. I mean, you're like my best hype woman I can ask for. But right now, I just want to show people where I'm at now. Most people watching this have never heard of me. Right now, I've started my business 7 years ago. I've had my business for 7 years, and it's gone from zero to now a little more than 500,000 a month
Wow.
in revenue. My online marketing company. So that's where I'm at right now. But the journey has been, I mean, as you've seen my other videos, it's been a long journey, not just those 7 years, but even growing up. I mean, I grew up lower middle class, divorced parents, food
Oh,
stamps. I mean,
really?
the entire checklist. I didn't grow up in, I would say, an abundant environment. It was very scarcity.
Hmm.
It was always about money and how we didn't have enough, right? It wasn't about money and growing it and compounding interest. It was about, wow, we have this note on our door because we didn't pay the rent on time. And
Really? Wow.
yeah, those seeds get planted when you're a young kid and you're like, wow, I guess there's just not a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
And oof, okay, I guess this is how we're supposed to live. But once you get exposure to videos like this or just YouTube and online, you see it's not really a bad thing. A lot of people live like that and they're super happy. You don't have
Mhm.
to be wealthy to be happy, but you have to
Right.
be wealthy and have abundance of resources to help other people, right? And so I think that's where
Yeah.
my mindset shifted, especially when I started doing mission work when I was 18. I went to Puerto Rico after the
Uh-huh.
hurricane. I believe it was Hurricane Maria in
Okay.
2017.
Yeah.
And at the time I had maybe $1,000 to my name. I put 500 of that to go on that missions trip. The church sponsored the other half of my flight and food and
That's
hotel and
awesome.
everything. And so I went from $1,000 to being worth $500. But I went on that trip and I saw real scarcity. I mean, people who were about to die of hunger and they didn't have electricity, so they couldn't
Yeah.
go get their medicine. I mean, whatever you want to kind of chop it up as, they were in a really rough spot. And that helped shift my mindset to thinking, okay, first of all, I need to figure out how to get resources so I can help other people that are in this position. But it also shifted my mindset to being a little more grateful about, hey, you're not in the worst position, right? I was going to college. I had a business at the time. I was doing my best. I was living in America. And so that was kind of my initial journey from, again, shifting my mindset, which is the ground floor of any successful person, successful business owner, successful parent, whatever it may be. If you have the right mindset, everything else after that, once you execute, it's on the solid foundation of, again, there's growth, there's abundance, there's plenty of opportunity out there. But again, growing up, that wasn't the case. And it took me many, many years. I still think about it now. I'm like, what if I
Mhm.
just stop making money tomorrow? Like, what's going to happen? And like, we all have the fear of failure, the fear of this, the fear of that.
Yeah.
But I think once you get over that and you realize how much is out there, you realize that you can just get a small piece of that and change your family and change your life.
Wow, that's really cool. So, I love how you said you went from $1,000 to half that, like overnight.
And that's
And
the thing. I chose to be giving and I chose to do my best to help other people when I didn't have money to give. I had my time though. So I was
yeah,
like, hey, you split it. I got kind of a donation to help fund my trip. And I've done other things with the church as well, but just doing that and being grateful for what I've had, even when I
mhm,
had nothing. I've never known somebody that wasn't a tithe type of person that didn't give their 10%, that went
right,
on mission trips or just tried to give something, right? Give
right.
somebody a ride or go to the movies with somebody that needs a friend. If you're a giving person, I've never met somebody that acts like that doesn't eventually become successful, because once you have some money, either you're a nice person or you're a bad person, but you always are that person, even when you have nothing. And
Yeah,
so if you're a giving person, if you're grateful, if you're generous when you don't have a lot of money, I'd say it says something about your character to when, as you grow your skill set, as you make more money, you're going to be giving, maybe not as much in terms of time, but
Yeah.
most likely financial resources.
Yeah, it just amplifies who you are at your core, I
Right.
guess. So,
Absolutely.
so how did you, I can understand you seeing where you were at, thinking you didn't have much, and then seeing where they were at and realizing, wow, I have a lot more than them. And then wanting to be able to give back in a bigger way, but you only had $500 at this point.
Right.
So how did you, how did you go shift your personal mentality to believing in yourself? Like, yeah,
Mm,
there's a lot of money out there. Other people have a lot of money.
mm,
But can Alex, from the family I was raised in and the shortage mindset that I was raised in, how did you acquire that inner belief in yourself?
mm. That's a great question. And I would say it's based around the fact that if somebody else can do it, I could do it,
Mm,
which is very
love that.
simple. But again, if you look at other people, there's this mystique around people who have money, that have a business, that are really successful. It's like they have some secret sauce or some kind of magic potion or
Right.
magic pill, and that's why they're successful. I don't have that secret sauce, so I'm not successful like them. But believe
Yeah.
me, any successful person that you see, they bleed red. They're a human being. They go to the doctor.
Mm,
They have to eat. They have to go to sleep. They're not necessarily a not a human being. They're not an alien, and that's why they can make $1 billion or $1 million.
true.
They just have a certain skill set that they developed over time, and they didn't quit. And so I guess two things. I looked at other people who were successful, and I'm like, if they could do it, I can do it. Maybe not at their level at that point.
Hmm.
That was my mindset. But if I can do it even half as good as them, I'm still going to be doing really well. So again, if I can do it,
That's
anybody
beautiful.
watching this can do it. Number two, it was the idea that failure wasn't an option.
Okay.
And so that's why I did sell my car. I tell that story on my channel all the time of how I had a Mazda Speed 6 2007. It was a stick shift, and that was
Fun.
worth $5,000. And so at that point, I probably saved another $500 after that mission trip. So I was
Yeah.
back to 1,000. But I wanted to invest into my business, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Like this car, not that it was a nice car, but this
Yeah.
car isn't going to help me achieve my dreams. It's just I don't need it at that point in my life. Right? I
Hmm.
didn't have kids. I can walk to the gym. I can walk to Starbucks to work
Yeah.
all day, ride my bike. And so I sold the car for $5,000. I invested in myself, and that's what really helped fund my business. And so it went from $1,000 down to 500, back to 1,000. Then I had 6,000, but then I
Yeah.
immediately invested that into my business.
Right. Okay. So, what did you invest in? Did you invest in coaching, or did you like what was your business at the time? Did you invest in products or like personal self development?
I would say personal self development. So, a lot of books, a lot of online courses, a lot of education, just
Okay.
trying to learn from other people. Where if somebody's already done something that I want to do, or even something
Hmm.
similar to what I want to do, why wouldn't I want to learn from them and fast track my growth by 10, 20, 30 years? Because you learn this in
Yeah.
sports growing up. But if
Yeah.
somebody else is making that mistake and the coach yells at them, don't do it and get yelled at by the coach. Just learn from their
Right.
mistake and implement the right way yourself and get the right result. Same thing with business. I don't want to make mistakes that have been made by people on much bigger scales with much bigger, zeros behind the number, much bigger dollar amounts. I'd rather learn from
Yeah.
them, take what I can from them, and then implement that into my business. And so a lot of personal self development, but most importantly, marketing. Right. And
Okay.
so I think it's the concept of being findable. I
Hmm.
talk to businesses every day. I've spoken to thousands of business owners, maybe even 10,000 business owners directly on phone calls. And the biggest issue is that they don't know, there's a disconnect between how much money they want to make and how much money they're making right now. And they don't know how to bridge that gap. And usually it's a very simple, I would say, transaction of, okay, if you're making 10,000 a month and you want to make 100,000 a month, that's a $90,000 a month gap. What's going to get you there?
Hmm.
Okay, let's then look at a funnel. If you want $90,000 in sales, let's say you need 900 leads. And to get
Hmm.
900 leads, you need maybe 90,000 viewers to your website, whatever the number may be,
Hmm.
right? But I think people don't understand sometimes that it's a very simple formula and complexity is the enemy of execution. And that's why people love to make it more complex in their head and think, but there's some magic secret sauce out there. I want what that guy has. Just give me
Yeah.
that magic secret pill and I'm going to have $1 million business. But it's not. He just knows, they know how to get traffic, how to get leads, and how to get sales in any
Okay.
business. Whether you're selling $1 million service or a $5 product, it's the same sales funnel. And of course, that's what I help clients do. That's what I did to my business is I used those marketing funds, invested at the top of this funnel into traffic to get leads, to get clients that
Okay.
generated revenue, and then constantly reinvesting back into more traffic, getting those sales, getting more traffic. And again, the keyword is being findable. You could be the best coach, consultant, expert, e-commerce person. You could have the best skincare product, whatever it may be. But
Yeah.
if you can't put butts in seats, if you can't get people to find you,
Right.
nobody will ever know.
What
The
do you have?
best NBA player, the best NFL player is not Michael Jordan, is not Tom Brady. They're probably some guy that is moving boxes, right? Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, but they're not an NFL superstar because maybe they went to the wrong high school or they didn't get enough exposure and they weren't findable. And so again, I
So
talk to
true.
business owners that are in business for 20, 30 years that they're in their business grinding, but they don't look at, again, the simplicity of, if I can build a funnel, if I can get traffic, if I can get people interested in what I
Mhm.
have to offer, and if I can turn some of those people into clients, I can just recycle that and scale it over time. And at that point, then you control your revenue and your income.
Love how you broke that down. You're right. It's not rocket science. It's just simplicity, and
Mm-hmm.
then repeating it and amplifying the effects with good advertising and making yourself findable.
It's
That's
boring. It's not
yeah.
attractive. It's not this super attractive, awesome strategy that is going to get you the results next month. But again, I've been doing the boring work for 7 years, which in the grand scheme of business isn't that long, but
Right.
I've been never stopping, keeping momentum. A lot of
Uh-huh.
people, they have a good year in business and then they relax. Then it's time to
Okay.
go on vacations, go on trips, and start
Yeah.
living the life after one good year of business. But if your business isn't growing, it's dying,
Yeah.
right? And
Gotcha.
so, I mean, as a story, I had one person, one client of mine who used to be my biggest affiliate in terms of referring me clients. They would refer me a client or two every single day.
Oh
And
wow.
I talked to a friend of mine though, who I was golfing with, and he has a huge business. It's a 9-figure business. And he told me, he was like, Alex, when I was your age, I was in a different business, but I had one client who was a whale, who was
Mm.
sending me a bunch of business, a bunch of referrals. Like 90% of his sales came from this one
One
client,
person.
this one person.
Wow.
And then they retired or they went out of business or something happened to where I think they retired and went out of business.
Mm.
And overnight, he lost 90% of his revenue. Think of,
Wow.
if you're watching this, if you lost 90% of your income,
Yeah.
that's it. Not
Yeah.
over a year, not over even a few months, instantly. That's a very scary place to be. And so
Yeah.
at that time I had that affiliate, but I started diversifying my revenue. And so I
Okay.
looked at, okay, how can I get other affiliates that are in different niches and different categories to promote me, to get more traffic, to get more clients. And so
Mhm.
again, there's evolutions to understanding the funnel, getting
Mhm.
one, let's say, whale, but also getting some minnows, getting some baby dolphins. It's good to have different
Yeah.
revenue sources. And but again, at this point, though, it is about looking at the funnel and seeing how can I maximize traffic, but also how can I maximize traffic from many different sources, right? Paid advertising, my own YouTube videos, affiliates, because then over time, let's say one of my affiliates used to be a big referrer of clients to me.
Mhm.
Maybe they stop doing it, maybe their business starts dying or something happens. It's more of an inconvenience to me, not me losing 90% of my revenue just like that.
Yeah, that's a really important strategy. Good thing to look out for.
Mhm.
So what exactly, can you tell the viewers what is your business and did it evolve from when you first invested into marketing and advertising for yourself to what you're doing now?
Mhm. Yeah, and so I really help businesses do that, right? And so essentially, whether they're looking to start a business or they have a business,
Hmm.
e-commerce, consulting, coaching, how do we build that funnel for them? Start getting traffic, start getting leads, start getting sales, And of course, building a brand. Because if you look at why would somebody work with, let's say, me over another person? I think if you have a brand, it's not about having 1 million followers or 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but it is about like, what are your values? What are you into? What are your hobbies? What are your passions? And how do you conduct business? Because
Yeah.
maybe somebody looks at me and I'm not their cup of tea. And then that other person, they have a certain brand that attracts them. Maybe they're like an alpha and they put their
Mhm.
Lamborghini out there and their private jets, and that
Yeah.
attracts a certain type of customer. That's their
Yeah.
brand. And that's
Right.
fine for them. I'm not saying it's good or bad. My brand is different than that. So I attract a different type of client. And so I help clients identify who their ideal customer is and how to attract them based on, again, what your brand is. What are you comfortable with? What are
Mm.
your values? And how do you put that out there in a way that's going to get traffic, but that's going to get the right traffic who is resonating with your brand and what you have to offer?
Got it. So you basically have the whole world as your oyster. You can work with clients from any industry, any products that they're selling. It doesn't really matter to you because what you're doing is helping them optimize, create a solid brand, and then optimize for people to be able to find them through marketing. That's what you're doing.
Exactly. But I do, my one qualifier with clients is if they think big enough.
Hmm.
Because if a client talks to me and they want to make $1,000 a month with their business, I tell them honestly, like, it's not worth your time. I
Yeah.
mean, to have a business that only makes 1,000 a month, you want to aim at least for 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, because at that point, you'd probably just rather, invest in your job or do something else, invest in the stock market. I think when people come into not just my program, but come into entrepreneurship thinking too small, it's
Hmm.
hard. Again, going back to my earlier point, it's hard to build a business off that because they're thinking so small. And
Yeah.
so they're just not on a solid foundation, right? They're making decisions, they're setting goals
Yeah.
more as dreams. Like, oh, I could start at 1,000 a month, but I can eventually get to 10,000 a month or 20,000 a month. And again, it's going back to more they're I would say they're scared of failure, but they're also scared of thinking big because if they don't achieve that goal, they feel like they failed.
Right.
I think the biggest failure is not trying and not taking action. I talk to people, Sarah, who've had their business idea for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years,
Oh,
and
that's sad.
it's sad because again they allowed the complexity, the faux complexity that's
Right.
not real, they allowed that to enter their consciousness and say, oh no, you need a lot of money and you need a lot of resources and you need employees, but you need to be resourceful. Again, look
Hmm.
at my experience of starting a business with like no money as a
Yeah.
young kid. I have a baby face now. Imagine how young I looked when I was 18, trying to tell
Right. Right.
business owners, hey, I can help you grow.
Right.
It was a tough proposition. And so if you're resourceful, and again, if you don't need to jump from 0 to 1 million a month or 1 million a year, but again, you
Right.
have to think big and think, if they can do it, if they can do it, if she can do it, he can do it, I can do it. Whether
Yeah.
it happens next year or in 5 or 7 years, it's doable. And I think the biggest thing as well is that a lot of people underestimate what their capabilities are over 5 or 10 years and overestimate how much am I going to make in the next 3 months with
Yeah.
my business. Like, oh, I saw they're making that much money, so I think I could do that in 2 months. Give me 60 days and I'm going to do what they did in 10 years. I mean, if
Yeah.
you went to the gym and expected a six pack in 30 days and you never worked out before, that'd be crazy. But people
Yeah.
honestly expect that. And that's why they're like,
Love
you know what?
advertising. Yeah.
This business thing isn't for me.
Mhm.
Oh, this market's saturated, or this offer doesn't work, or whatever it may be. But again, they just didn't give it enough time, and they expected to make all this money right away. When if they look at it over 10 years, I mean, the people that I hang with, I golf with people that are 9-figure people,
Yeah.
billionaire people, like 10-figure people. They look at a year as like short term. Even
Hmm.
5 years is still considered relatively short, medium term. They look at 10 years plus. They think in terms of decades. And so if you're watching and you want to start a business or you have a business, you might be on the cusp of that one breakthrough, that one little tweak that changes your life, changes your business. But you don't want to just quit right when you're almost there, right when you're about to have that breakthrough. Just give it time. Be patient.
Yeah, such good advice. This is so good. So earlier you touched on an example that's opposite of you. I forgot the term you used, but somebody that builds their brand with being flashy and
Right.
Lamborghinis and chest puffed out and stuff like that. But how would you describe your brand? I could describe you, but I'm curious to hear it from your own words. How would you describe your brand for people that would be resonating with you?
Mm. I've never been asked that before. These are the best questions. These are unique. How would I describe my brand? I would say, of course, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm faith based as a business. Almost all my team members are the exact same faith and same beliefs.
Nice.
I would say, in terms of how I do business, it's very focused on straightforwardness, again, simplicity. I'm not trying to be flashy or tell you this and that. It's more about, hey, if you want to achieve that revenue goal, you need to spend this much in ads over this amount of time and be
Yeah.
patient. And so, because again, like I try to make it as not as complex as I possibly can, as simple as possible, as to the point. And I think people respect that. And that I just do business with no upsells. And I even tell people a lot of the time, like, yeah, you're not a good fit for this right now, maybe in 6 months. My goal isn't to maximize my revenue. My goal is to work with the right people with the right mindset at the right time in their life
Yeah.
and kind of building their dream business, but also getting my dream clients. And I think a
Mm,
lot of companies, they just focus on scale, scale, scale. Like, how can we grow the fastest possible, even if
yeah.
we're working with people who aren't really a good fit for our services? And, I think the way I do business is I'd rather go a little slowly, scale slowly, but work with the right clients, again, who are, I would say, my dream clients, and help them grow consistently, predictably over time.
Okay. So your dream client consists of somebody that has the right mindset and is ready to grow and not just thinking small, but thinking big.
Thinking
Yeah.
big, and also I would say they're not looking for something fast, and they're also not looking for something super complex, and they're
Yeah.
willing to be coachable, right?
Hmm.
Because again, I can tell somebody, hey, I'm making, I mean, over 500,000 a month. You're making 5,000 a month. If you do X, Y, and Z, I think you can triple your business in 2 months. But if they're not
Yeah.
coachable, then it's like there's a disconnect between, well, I'm where you want to get to. I have the GPS. I know how to bring you there. But if they're not coachable, then that's a tough place to be.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Another question. Obviously, you're really strong in the marketing world, but what avenues of marketing do you specialize in? Do you mostly work with social media, or do you search engine optimization? And I'll let you take it from there because I
Mhm.
don't even know all the avenues of marketing.
Well, I mean, I think, again, going back to what I said in terms of diversifying revenue streams, I'm not married to any particular type of marketing. So I'm not a
Okay.
social media marketer. I'm not a direct mail marketer. I'm not an email marketer. I've used every form of marketing, probably known to man:
Okay.
billboards, direct mail, email marketing, cold email
Nice.
marketing, cold calling, social media
Yeah.
advertising, organic, YouTube affiliate marketing. And so it's not
Mm,
that one is better than the other. The best businesses have their omni channel. They have marketing all over the place so that you may see me on this video and a
mhm.
Facebook ad and on somebody else's channel and on TikTok, right? And
Okay.
so
So
it
spreading
builds
it out, like
even,
on the
you
market.
spread it out so
Okay.
you can reach people all across wherever they are on the internet or in the world. They see me or they see you or they see companies.
Uh-huh.
But also, it is diversifying revenue streams where maybe Facebook ads used to be the best for my business. Maybe now they're not as much, but that's fine if I have 10 different ways of getting customers. And
Yeah.
so, I'm not married to any particular type of marketing. It's more about having multiple streams of advertising, of revenue, and that just provides safety.
Okay, gotcha. So again, taking it back to somebody watching this, it doesn't matter. You don't care what kind of business they're in or what kind of product they're selling. You have the tools and the experience with all types of marketing to help them get to where they want to be.
Absolutely. And I want this to be as much free value as possible. If you want to work with me, that's great. If not, that's totally fine. But again, I'm just sharing everything that I've been able to learn and the mistakes I've made, going back to my point earlier, so that even if you never work with me, you could still watch this video and try to get some value, and again, avoid some of the mistakes that I've made, and even just things that I've learned, over the past few years of, scaling my business. And so, but
Yeah.
absolutely, I think everything that I'm talking about is really for any business, e-commerce, a service business, lawyers, accountants, coaches, whatever it may be, a YouTuber. It's all the same, I would say, concept. It's just applying it in different businesses.
Gotcha. Okay. Probably final couple questions. What fuels you the most with regard to your business and just your like purpose in life at this
Mm-hmm.
point in your life? And then what is your vision for like the fairly short term next 5 years?
I would say I love helping people transform their life and getting them
Yeah.
from where they are now to what they thought wasn't possible. I mean, I
Hmm.
have clients like Christy Van, who, she 12 months ago was working at, an HVAC company. She didn't love what she was doing, and she was making good money, but she wasn't necessarily fulfilled. And she had a bigger dream for herself. But again,
Yeah.
it was a dream. She started working with me, built the YouTube channel with her, built her business with her. She went from 0 subscribers to 136,000 subscribers,
Wow.
and then from 0 to 60,000 a month with her business in 12 months. So she
Wow.
grew way faster than I did. 12 months into my business, I was still, I was still
Yeah.
riding my bike. And so, but again,
Right.
clients of mine that work with me, they learn from my experiences and my other clients, so they can fast track, getting the results that I got in a few years, probably in her first 6 to 12 months of running her business. And of course, her results aren't typical. They're not average because people aren't willing to do what she did. I mean, she
Okay.
posted a video every single day, sometimes twice a day, no
Yeah.
excuses, nonstop. And she's a
Mhm.
mother, she's a wife, she has a lot going on, but she still made time to implement what we went over. And so her results are, again, not average, not typical.
Yeah.
They're extraordinary, but it's very fulfilling for me in terms of helping somebody like her who maybe would have never had a YouTube channel or never achieved her dream in the past, making that a
Yeah.
reality and making that, wow, okay, if I'm doing this in 12 months, what's my business going to do in 10 years working with Alex? And so
Yeah.
that's really fulfilling.
Yeah, no, I love that you brought her up. I actually found Alex through Christy's channel. And so if Alex wouldn't have helped Christy create a channel and become popular, then I would have never known about Alex. So it's like this beautiful full circle thing. And then like you said, that was powerful what you said. It was just a dream and then you helped her make it a reality.
Mm-hmm.
And in a relatively, quick period of time. So yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying. Just put
Mm-hmm.
in the work, and you don't have to be anyone special. We all have the same color of blood. Anyone can do this if they just believe and they are coachable. Um, so yeah, you've inspired me, and hopefully my audience that's watching. And I just really, really thank you for all of your advice today and the wisdom that you're sharing. Thanks, Alex.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
All right, till next time.
Yep.
See you
Thank
later.
you. See ya.
Thanks.